I'm standing at the grocery checkout with a full cart when my card gets declined. The cashier swipes it again. Nothing. My face burns as people behind me shift impatiently. I grab my phone and open the banking app with shaking fingers. Our joint checking shows 0. I blink hard and refresh. Still 0. The savings account that had $85,000 yesterday, also empty. One transaction glows on the screen, a wire transfer for the full amount sent 2 hours ago. My stomach drops like I've been pushed off a cliff. The destination just says external account. I abandon my cart and rush to my car, hands trembling so badly I can barely grip the steering wheel. This can't be real. Scott wouldn't do this, would he? I call Scott 3 times before he finally answers. There's loud music in the background, laughter. What? He says, annoyed. My voice cracks as I ask about the money. He goes quiet for a second, then actually laughs. I took what I earned, Amelia. I'm leaving. I'm with someone who actually has ambition. The words hit me like a physical blow. He says her name is Tiffany, that they're starting their real life together. I try to speak, but nothing comes out. He hangs up before I can even process what's happening. I sit in the parking lot, staring at my phone, waiting for him to call back and say it's a joke. He doesn't call. Instead, a text arrives. The message reads, "Good luck paying the mortgage this month. Maybe you can sell one of your stupid little paintings." Attached is a photo of a blonde woman in oversized sunglasses sitting in a red convertible. The caption says, "A real woman." I recognize her from Scott's phone once when a notification popped up. He'd brushed it off as a work contact. My hands shake with rage and humiliation. 6 years of marriage, gone in a single wire transfer and a cruel text. I throw my phone onto the passenger seat and drive home in a daze. The house feels empty and cold when I walk in. I stand in the hallway, looking at our wedding photo on the wall. Scott's smiling face mocks me now. I walk slowly into my studio, the room Scott always dismissed as the hobby room. For years he mocked my art history degree. "What are you going to do with that? Teach kindergarteners about finger painting?" He'd say at parties, laughing while his finance buddies joined in. He had no idea what I actually did in here every day. For the past 6 years I've been operating under the name Astra, one of the most trusted art authenticators and restorers for elite private collectors worldwide. Museum directors call me. Auction houses fly me out. Billionaires pay me 6 figures to verify a single painting's authenticity. Scott thought I was just playing with art while he brought home the real money. He was so wrong. I sit at my desk and open my laptop. My fingers move automatically, typing in the password for my private bank account. It's registered under my LLC, Astra Fine Art Solutions, completely separate from anything Scott ever knew about. The screen loads. The balance reads, $4,012,550.67. I've been quietly depositing my earnings here for years, keeping it hidden, protected. Some part of me always knew I might need this safety net. I pick up my phone and dial Camille, my lawyer and one of the only people who knows the truth. She answers on the first ring. "Camille, it's time," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "He did it." She doesn't ask questions. She just says, "I'll file the paperwork tomorrow morning." I remember the safe. My passport, my grandmother's jewelry, everything important is locked in our bedroom safe. I rush upstairs and punch in the code with trembling fingers. The door swings open to reveal nothing but empty velvet trays. My grandmother's Art Deco diamond necklace, the one she wore in her wedding photos, is gone. So are the matching earrings and the sapphire ring. Scott took them. He stole my family heirlooms. My knees buckle and I sit on the floor, staring into the empty safe. Those pieces weren't just valuable, they were my history, my memories. My grandmother gave them to me on her deathbed, making me promise to keep them in the family. Now they're gone, taken by a man who never valued anything except money. My phone buzzes with a notification. It's Instagram. Tiffany has posted a new photo. I don't even follow her, but the app suggests it because Scott is tagged. My breath catches when I see the image. She's posing in front of a mirror, pouting at the camera, and around her neck is my grandmother's necklace. The distinctive geometric diamonds catch the light exactly how I remember. The caption reads, "He spoils me, said it was just sitting in a dusty old box." My vision blurs with tears of rage. That necklace sat in a dusty box because it was precious, because it was meant to be protected. I screenshot the photo immediately, my hands shaking. This is evidence. This is theft. I forward it to Camille with a single word. Stolen. 3 days later, a thick envelope arrives by courier. I tear it open. It's from Scott's lawyer, someone named Philip Hendricks. The letter is aggressive and condescending. It claims that since I have no documented employment and Scott was the sole financial provider during our marriage, I owe him spousal support. He's demanding I pay him $3,000 per month and that he be awarded the house in the divorce settlement. I read it twice, then a third time, each word making me angrier. The audacity is breathtaking. He steals everything we had, runs off with another woman, takes my grandmother's jewelry and now wants me to pay him. I call Camille immediately. She listens calmly, then says, "Let him play his cards. We'll play ours soon enough." A week passes. I'm working in my studio when I hear someone trying to unlock the front door. The handle jiggles aggressively, then pounding. "Amelia, open this door right now." It's Scott. I walk calmly to the window and peek through the curtain. He's red-faced, furious, shouting at the door like it personally offended him. He tries his key again, jamming it into the lock. It doesn't work. I had a security company install new high-grade locks 2 days ago. The pounding gets louder. "You can't lock me out of my own house," he screams. A neighbor, old Mr. Patterson from across the street, steps onto his porch and yells, "Hey, knock it off or I'm calling the cops." Scott kicks the door once more, then storms back to his car and speeds away. 2 hours later, a police car pulls up. I open the door calmly. The officer, a tired-looking woman in her 40s, introduces herself as Officer Brennan. "We got a call from a Scott Walker, says you've locked him out and you're holding his property hostage." I nod and invite her inside. I explain we're separated, that he drained our accounts and left. She takes notes. Then Scott's property comes up, the paintings. He claims they're valuable art he purchased and I'm keeping them from him. Officer Brennan looks around at the canvases on my walls. "These yours?" I shake my head. "Technically they belong to my business, I can prove it." She raises an eyebrow. I walk to my office and return with a folder full of documents. She flips through them slowly, her expression changing from skeptical to surprised. The documents show everything. As Astra, I authenticated and provided provenance for every single painting Scott ever bought at auction. But the receipts tell the real story. My LLC purchased each piece, then loaned them to our home for display. They were never marital assets. They were always business property, part of my inventory for clients. Officer Brennan looks at me with something like respect. "So these paintings, they're yours?" I nod. "Legally, yes." He thought he was buying them, but the money came from my business accounts. He just didn't know it. She closes the folder and hands it back. "Ma'am, you're well within your rights. If he calls again, we'll cite him for harassment." She leaves, and through the window I see her talking on her radio. Scott's little stunt just backfired completely. The next morning another letter arrives. This one's from the mortgage company. My heart sinks as I read it. "The house is in foreclosure. We're 2 months behind on payments." But that's impossible. I always made sure the mortgage was paid from our joint account. Then I understand. Scott deliberately skipped the payments after taking the money. He wanted to destroy my credit, ruin me financially while he started fresh with Tiffany. The foreclosure auction is scheduled for 3 weeks from now. If I can't catch up on the payments plus fees, nearly $18,000, I'll lose the house. I sit at my kitchen table, the letter trembling in my hands. This was calculated. This was meant to leave me homeless and broken. I call Camille again. "He's forcing a foreclosure." She pauses, then says, "Good, let him think he's winning." A legal notice arrives by sheriff's deputy. It's an eviction notice, fast-tracked through Scott's lawyer. I have 30 days to vacate my own house, the house I decorated, maintained, loved. That evening, Tiffany posts an Instagram story. I watch it 3 times, my anger building with each replay. She's inside my living room, panning the camera across the furniture, my furniture. "Redecorating this drab place," she chirps. "Can't wait to host a divorce's final party here." She zooms in on my grandmother's antique lamp, calling it tragic old people decor. Comments flood in from her followers, cheering her on. They have no idea she's parading through a stolen life. I screenshot everything. Then I start packing slowly and deliberately. Let them think they've won. Day of the foreclosure auction arrives cold and grey. I park down the street from the courthouse steps where the auction is being held. Through my windshield I can see Scott and Tiffany in the front row of folding chairs, looking smug and excited. Tiffany's filming everything on her phone, probably for another Instagram story. The auctioneer, a Board County official, explains the rules. Bidding starts at $400,000, well below the home's market value of $950,000. Scott's plan is obvious: buy the house for cheap, wipe out the mortgage debt and own it free and clear. Tiffany squeezes his hand. The auctioneer begins. "Do I hear 400,000? Scott's hand shoots up immediately. I dial Camille's number. She's on speakerphone with the auctioneer's assistant, registered as a phone bidder. "We're live," I tell her quietly. The bidding climbs quickly. Scott bids $450,000. A phone bidder, Camille, counters with $500,000. Scott looks annoyed but bids $550,000. The phone bidder goes to $650,000. I watch Scott's face redden. He confers with Tiffany, who nods eagerly. $700,000, he shouts. The auctioneer repeats it. Camille counters, $800,000. Scott's getting desperate now. He bids $850,000, probably his absolute limit. There's a long pause. The auctioneer asks any further bids. Camille's voice comes through the speaker, calm and clear. $1.2 million. The crowd gasps. Scott's mouth falls open. The auctioneer counts down. Going once, going twice. Sold to Astra Fine Art Solutions for $1.2 million. I hang up with Camille and lean back in my seat, letting out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I just bought my own house, in cash. 5 days later, a sheriff's deputy shows up at Scott's rented condo. I know this because Tiffany posts about it, outraged and confused. Some sheriff just served us papers at our place, she writes. The papers are an eviction notice from the new owner of their future home, me, through my LLC. They have 48 hours to remove any remaining personal items from the property. Scott calls me, screaming, "You can't do this, that's my house." I let him rant for 10 seconds, then interrupt calmly. "Actually, Scott, it's my house, I bought it, you're trespassing." He sputters, trying to find words. "You don't have that kind of money, your little art thing." I cut him off. 48 hours. After that, anything left becomes property of the estate. I hang up. It's the most satisfying click of my life. Now it's time to deal with the jewelry. I call Camille and ask her to contact the police department's art theft division. I provide the original insurance policy for my grandmother's necklace, appraised at $52,000, along with photos and documentation proving it belonged to my family for 3 generations. I also provide screenshots of Tiffany's Instagram posts, showing her wearing it, along with geotags from her public profile. The detective assigned to the case, a sharp woman named Detective Tors, reviews everything in one afternoon. "This is solid," she tells me over the phone. "She's been broadcasting her location constantly. We'll pick her up within 24 hours. I thank her and hang up, feeling the first real sense of justice starting to take shape. Scott stole from me. Now he's going to face the consequences. The next evening, Tiffany goes live on Instagram from an upscale restaurant downtown. She's doing a date night vlog, panning across her plate, her wine glass, and of course her jewelry. My grandmother's necklace glitters under the restaurant's soft lighting. She's mid-sentence, giggling about the lobster, when 2 plainclothes officers approach her table. I'm watching the live stream from my couch, and I see the exact moment her face changes from influencer smile to genuine fear. One officer shows her a photo on a tablet. "Ma'am, is this the necklace you're currently wearing?" She nods, confused. "You're under arrest for possession of stolen property valued over $50,000. The live stream cuts out abruptly. Scott, sitting across from her, is visible in the frame for just a second, frozen in shock. Comments explode on her page before she can delete the video. I save a copy just in case. Scott's lawyer demands an emergency mediation session. We meet in a sterile conference room at a neutral law office. Scott looks terrible, unshaven, bags under his eyes, rumpled shirt. His lawyer, Philip, tries to control the room. "My client is willing to be generous," he begins, his tone condescending. "He'll drop the alimony request entirely if Ms. Walker agrees to drop the criminal charges against his companion." I say nothing. Camille smiles politely. "How generous," she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Philip continues. "My client has already suffered enough. This entire situation has been blown out of proportion." Scott nods along, trying to look sympathetic. He's always been good at playing the victim. Camille lets him finish. Then she reaches into her briefcase and pulls out a single document. "Before we discuss settlements," she says, "there's something you should see." Camille slides the paper across the table. It's a notarized bank statement from my private business account. The balance is printed in bold, $4,012,550.67. Philip picks it up, his eyes widening. Scott leans over to look, and I watch all the color drain from his face. That's impossible," he whispers. His lawyer looks at me, then at Camille. "What is this?" Camille leans back in her chair. "This is my client's personal, premarital business account. She's been operating as one of the world's leading art authenticators for the past 6 years under the professional name Astra. That useless art history degree you mocked has made her a multimillionaire." Scott's staring at me like he's seeing a stranger. You never said." I meet his eyes for the first time since we sat down. "You never asked," I say simply. Camille isn't finished. She pulls out another folder, thicker this time. "We are filing criminal charges against your client for felony theft of $85,000 from a joint account, which constitutes financial abuse and fraud. We're also pursuing full restitution, including the return of stolen family heirlooms valued at over $60,000. Philip tries to interrupt, but Camille holds up a hand. Additionally, we're filing a civil suit for emotional distress, damage to credit, and attempted destruction of my client's financial stability through deliberate foreclosure. She stacks the papers neatly. Your client will be arrested within the week unless he voluntarily surrenders to authorities. Scott's face has gone from pale to grey. This is insane, he mutters. Camille smiles coldly. No, Mr. Walker, this is justice. The mediation ends with no agreement. We walk out, leaving Scott and his lawyer sitting in stunned silence. Tiffany's lawyer cuts a deal. In exchange for testifying against Scott, her charges get reduced to a misdemeanor with probation. She doesn't hesitate. In her statement to the police, she says Scott explicitly told her he cleaned out the bitch's account and that the money would fund their new life. She admits he gave her the necklace, saying it belonged to his ex, who didn't appreciate nice things anyway. Her testimony is damning. Scott's arrested 3 days later at his condo. The booking photo leaks online. He's in a wrinkled t-shirt, unshaven, looking nothing like the confident finance manager who mocked my art degree. Tiffany, meanwhile, scrubs her entire Instagram, deletes her account, and disappears from social media. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. But then I remember her wearing my grandmother's necklace and calling my home drab. 2 weeks after Scott's arrest, his finance firm fires him. The felony charges make him uninsurable, a liability they can't afford. Word spreads quickly in his industry, no one will hire him, he's blacklisted. One morning a certified letter is delivered to his condo. Inside is a formal job offer on Astra Fine Art Solutions letterhead. Position, warehouse assistant. Duties, uncrating shipments, inventory management, basic cleaning. Hourly wage, $15. I included a handwritten note. Everyone needs to start somewhere. This offer expires in 48 hours. I don't know if he'll take it. Part of me hopes he does. Not because I want him around, but because I want him to understand what it feels like to be underestimated, to do work people think is beneath them. I want him to unpack paintings worth millions, knowing he'll never own anything like them again. 6 months pass like a dream I'm slowly waking up from. I've stopped hiding. I've done interviews, appeared at gallery openings, and started the Walker Grant for underestimated female artists. The launch event is at a beautiful new public gallery downtown. The space is packed with collectors, artists, journalists, and supporters. The centerpiece of the first exhibit is a sculpture I commissioned from an up-and-coming artist. It's called The Parasite. She constructed it using shredded fabric from Scott's expensive suits, which he abandoned at the house, and twisted metal from the frame of Tiffany's repossessed convertible. It's grotesque and beautiful, a statement about people who take and take until there's nothing left. The plaque reads, "Dedicated to everyone who was told they'd never be enough." The crowd applauds. I stand in front of it, feeling lighter than I have in years. I'm back in my studio, the one Scott used to call the hobby room. The walls are covered with new paintings, my own this time, not client work. I've started painting again for the first time since college, bright abstract pieces full of color and movement. My phone buzzes with a bank alert. It's a deposit, $250. I open the notification, curious. It's a wage garnishment court-ordered from Scott's new job. He did take the warehouse position. This is the first payment toward the $85,000 he owes me. It'll take him years to pay it back at this rate. I set my phone down and look around my studio. My art history degree hangs on the wall in a simple frame, next to my grandmother's necklace, which the police returned last month. I make myself tea, sit at my easel, and pick up a brush. Outside, the afternoon sun is golden and warm. I begin to paint.